fools and ghouls! I'm your coffee grumbler, McLean speaking, and today we are going to be talking about subtle things you can do to improve and change your art style. One of the things that we can do to improve our art style is actually using different types of brushes and or different line sizes and quality. I have 6 examples to speed run through, so let's get started on this. Now, because I'm using Photoshop, all my brushes won't make sense to others who are not using Photoshop. But in this one, I am using the Kyle pencil brush in size 10, and I have a flow of 100, and my pressure setting is off for this one, so it stays in a consistent monoline. I like using monolines because they make my art feel a little bit more cartoony, but because it is a pencil brush, I take more liberties to do more cross-hatching. On the second one, I actually have my pressure setting off. I do this so it can give the line quality a bit of a rougher texture and the line weights are a little inconsistent. The downside to this one is that it doesn't really have a really good render consistency with my art in particular, but I find other people who use this has a more painterly style anyways, and that is not really my style. But you can see some inconsistencies in the line work itself between the two examples that I give right here. The next example that I have right here is the exact same brush, just a smaller one and less flow. I have it at 52% here. I also have my pressure setting off on this one just so I can have that consistent line again, but because of how thin this brush is, it looks more pencil-y with the flow being at 52%. I also wouldn't recommend this one to any new and up beginning artist only because the line control on a very small pencil monoline is really difficult to pull off. My recommendation would be going with the sketchy lines first before you go with the monolines so you can learn better line control and line quality. Now this one is my favorite brush, which is the Kyle ink brush with the flow of 100 and my pressure setting is on. This is the brush and style that I use the most. Pairing this line and my rendering style that I use a lot, it makes it more cartoony, and that's what I want to strive for, is more cartoony art style. And again, having the pressure setting on means that I can have a little more inconsistency with the line weight, which makes it more believable in the long run. I also like the look of thick shadows, which is why you will see in most of my art that I have like the really blackened areas because it makes it feel like it has a lot more depth in it. Unlike with the cross-hatching that I did in the sketch one. Now, this one is going to be almost the exact same thing except for my pressure setting is off so I can have more consistency within the line work itself. And in this one, I'm going to show you what my art would be like without those big, thick shadows, and you can really tell the difference in my line work within these two side-by-side pieces better. You can also tell that I have to put a little bit more detail in this line work because I don't have the heavy blacks to rely on anymore. Now in this one, I'm going to add more line weight and variation to the line, so my pressure setting is off, but I'm making more blackened shapes within the line art itself, so this way that you can see that it has a more comic booky style, a more cartoony feel, and it feels more alive because of the inconsistencies in the line art itself. And I use this style for more of my fully rendered pieces, which I think you can tell the reason why. Now here's all my line work side by side so you can kind of see some of the differences in it. Now for this next thing that you can do, you can add colors to your line art to make your line art stand out just a little bit more from the drawing itself, or to make it more camouflaged into the drawing itself. Here are the 3 examples with a single color, a gradient, and just the regular black line art. Most of the time I just use the black line art, but when I'm feeling really experimental, I use the gradient line art more. Another thing that you can do to make your line art stand out just a little bit more is add a blur to the line art itself. It will give it more of a dreamy quality feel to it, and it just looks really good. You can also add the gradient to the back of the drawing instead of the front of the drawing to make it stand out from the background just a smidge bit more. But personally, I find that duplicating your line art layer, blurring it over top of your drawing, is way better. So here are all those examples. The last thing I'm going to teach you is different rendering styles. So you have the cell shading style, which I'm doing right here, which is a more cartoony feel. It's just really harsh shadows, really harsh lines inside these shadows, so it doesn't have any soft shading in it whatsoever. The second one is just purely soft shading technique. I don't usually like this one with my art style, only because my art style is more angular and has a lot more shapes in it. So it doesn't really match up with my art style, but I have done multiple different ones with this style in particular, and here are some of the examples. And last up, you have my favorite, which is the mix of the two shading techniques, which is what I usually do in most of my fully rendered pieces. I do cell shading only for character design, and then I do the more mix for the fully rendered pieces itself. Now, each of these three has pros and cons, but you have to find that out on your own. Again, for me, I don't like soft shading at all. It is my least favorite type of shading. But there's others who can make it look so beautiful and so nice that I want to try it more, but at the same time I just can't. And my favorite is the mixed shading technique. I believe there is no right or wrong way to do the mixed shading. You just gotta learn how to push and pull your values a lot more than you would have in just regular cell shading. I would experiment with all three of these and see what you like and what you would want to come up with on your own. That's my best advice, is just experiment. Art is all about experimentations. Another thing that you can do to improve and or make your art style more unique is to add color to lighting effects. Obviously, if you want to tie in your character to a background, you add the color from the background to your character. My absolute favorite thing to do is to add rim lighting to your drawing. I also do this technique that I dub rim shading. It's just adding another color to represent a shadow. Makes everything a bit more fun. Another thing that I do is put hair outside of the line art. It just makes it more believable. It makes it flow a bit better. Yeah. And then this last bit is just me experimenting with different styles of rim lighting by doing gradients and other colors to make them pop and have more fun. So, I hope you like this. Thank you, Dragon Seed, for being part of my Ko-Fi subscriber. And take it easy, Royals, Fools, and Ghouls, and I'll see you next time.